We have to go back to 1944 to the very first concept of a kind of photography that would become part of the human being, an adjunct to your memory, something that was always with you. They were grand machines for a grand purpose. A camera which you would use not on the occasion of parties only, or of trips only, or when your grandchildren came to see you, but a camera that you would use as often as your pencil or your eyeglasses.
Under intense pressure from Western governments to show visible signs of reform, there are fresh rumors of Nelson Mandela's imminent release.
The weakest government in the world can defy the strongest corporation anywhere in the world and win. I mean, you know, this business of the companies having that kind of power is ludicrous.
We can already see visible effects of sanctions insofar as they are influencing government behavior.
This has done absolutely nothing towards ending apartheid.
Sanctions do work. Sanctions must be strengthened.
Demonstrations against the South African government's strict apartheid policies flare into shocking violence. At Sharpsville, an industrial township, thousands gather outside a police station in protest against new laws requiring every African to carry a pass at all times.
It was a document of massive bureaucratic control and therefore also power, because it empowered the states to organize society and organize how people moved, operated, where they worked, where they lived, and all of that kind of thing. People's identity was divided on very sort of old-fashioned or early conventional so-called tribal lines that weren't necessarily in effect as such for people living in the 1950s when this first started. It was this kind of a document that represented somebody's identity, but more than that, it represented somebody's ability to move around and to get work. And if they weren't employed with a certain kind of legal ability to work in a particular city or place, they would have to be what they called endorsed out. So endorsed out of the city.
We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going.
It was widely known that there was an attempt to bring apartheid to its knees economically by pushing international companies who were invested in South Africa to move out in order to limit what the state could achieve economically without them, and therefore in order to meet the condition of dismantling apartheid.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a conditional thing. You know, we'll come back if you dismantle apartheid kind of thing. I don't think many companies actually did that in the way that, say, Kodak did, and they made quite a big deal of it. So that it was very well known that Kodak was pulling out. So the fact that Kodak, that was so popular and the biggest investor on the sort of media side, that kind of media anyway, photography and film, the fact that they were going to pull out was a huge matter. And then they did pull out, so... Yeah, and as I understand it, they never quite got the stronghold back that they'd had initially. When they were planning to pull out, for example, I'd just done a film degree learning how to make film on Super 8, which was Kodak. But by the 90s, when, you know, we were in a different media world by then and we didn't need Super 8 anymore, Kodak would have had to change its ideas of what it was going to be manufacturing and selling in a place like South Africa where they'd left as a result of boycotting apartheid. It was a very repressive period. So what happened was that apartheid was officialized in 1948. And by 1951, the apartheid state had established most of the laws that we're going to see apartheid in a way into being and into sustainable being for the following 40 years.
We have heard the work of Citigroup for a long time now, and of the criticisms against you. But you have shown what fine stuff you are made of. What we here have always known since the 86-day picket. We greet the British people who are prepared to stand shoulder to shoulder with us and look forward to your news. Please pass the greetings of the people of Soweto to the non-stop picket to release Nelson Mandela.
Apartheid was successful at being a very repressive regime, the apartheid states, in the 50s and 60s, you know, with pockets of massive resistance along the way. But the suffering and trauma was so huge and people were so repressed that it was very difficult to be in a mode of protest and resistance, you know, above ground. So it went underground and also outside of the country.
My father says, I cannot and will not give any undertaking at a time when I and you, the people, are not free. Your freedom and mine cannot be separated.
Till the border regime is stop and we'll do all we can. So lend a helping hand. Non siamo again. Oh, non siamo Mandela. You are leader in your chosen home. Oh, non siamo Mandela. You are a force. You are a force. And what's going on? We are here now. We are here till Mandela is free. And I don't stop picket up the embassy till the border regime. They stop and we'll do all we can. So let the helping hand. Holy Tata, Mandela. The freedom fighters are inspired by you. Holy Tata, Mandela. You are a living hero today.
And it's such a strange thing. The photo proves who you are. You don't yourself prove who you are. How can a photo be the thing that tells everybody who I am when actually I am who I am anyway?
Lend a helping hand till they release the man on summer.